AI is everywhere right now, and the rate of change and the impact that it's having on the world is not to be underestimated. And it's only just getting started. But in our industry, most people don't really know what to do with it or how to integrate AI into the daily running of a salon business. I'm Anthony Whitaker, and welcome to this week's episode of the Grow My Salon Business podcast. My guest today is Frank Westerbeke, co-owner of the multi-generational family salon group called Gadabout and VerVe, which are based in Tucson in Arizona. So in today's podcast, we're going to discuss how AI is being used in the Gadabout and VerVe salons in a very practical sense, whether it's salon marketing, improving financial management, the client journey, or for the team development side of running a business, and lots more. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Frank Westerbeke.
Hey, Anthony. Good evening. How are you?
Well, I'm very good, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation because, as I said in the intro, AI is everywhere right now, but there are so many people in our industry that really don't know what to do with it. So it's, exciting to have this opportunity to talk to you because you're someone who's using it in very practical ways. And I think that that's going to be enormously helpful to our listeners just to hear some of the things that you are doing. So can I just sort of jump straight in off the top there and just give me a brief overview, first of all, of what AI platforms are you using in the business?
Well, that's one of the better questions because a lot of people want to know that answer. We started with ChatGPT, and then Gemini came on board. And it's interesting. I look at both. I use both for what I use it for. I know there's plenty of others now. I'm not a techie guy at all. I'm a salon owner with almost 300 staff members. We have multiple salons, and where I use it is the bridge between, because I needed all the help in the world to try to understand what's going on. How do I keep up? We've been in business for 45 plus years and still growing and still innovating. And the thing that I do, I call myself the human connector of the company. I'm the guy who goes around. I still do hair one day a week, which I love, my passion, because it's where the magic really happens. And talking to people, I get answers and I get ahas that are going on. And then I talk to our staff. Today, after this, I'll be going through all the salons and walking through and sitting down with people and taking time to see how they feel, see how things are working for them.
All right, let me go back a little bit there and pick up on something you said that you use ChatGPT. I think everyone jumped into that first. And then you said that you're using Gemini, which is Google product. You didn't mention anything about Claude. I'm wondering, do you use Claude as well or not?
They use Claude in the office.
Right, okay.
Gemini seemed to be, we went through it all, and they chose Gemini.
Right.
Because it's just relatable, it's fast, it's really funny, but it's kind of like Apple, and it's cute.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. Are you using Gemini because of the Apple connection? And then I was going to ask you, are you typing into it or are you using AI voice?
We're using AI voice.
Okay, right. So that's
and
the connection.
Listening back in AI, and oddly enough, they like the voice of Gemini.
Yeah,
and that's so important because getting everyone to swallow this thing. I mean, we had to come back, and like a lot of companies, we have a big corporate office, and people didn't want to use AI because they thought it was cheating, and they thought they were going to get in trouble. And I said, the only reason you're going to lose your job is if you don't know how to use AI to help us get better and faster at the things we're trying to do and keep up.
Okay.
And that opened up the door. We had to have that, okay, it's here, let's talk about it. It's okay, let's use it as much as possible.
Okay. So give me an example. You're in the car, you're on your way. I know you've got half a dozen salons and you're going from one salon to the next. You just said you're going to go and sit down with a group of people. What's a practical thing that might happen typically where you're going to just grab your phone and ask Gemini something?
So if I'm going to a salon and before I get there, I'll have the temperature of the salon before I walk in.
Hmm.
The manager lets me know what's going on, who had a best week, and we don't use it there. That's really easy to celebrate. It's
Yeah.
when they're having emotional problems, they're having interpersonal issues, uh, typically and very often right now we're dealing with a young new stylist because we are growing our team very dramatically, and we have our senior stylists. They're going, I don't really care. I do it this way and that. So I'm trying to bridge that gap. I use it as my bridge, and I'll ask questions on the way over. Hey, I've got a 22-year-old brand new intern in the salon, and they're having a challenge with a 25-year veteran. And how do we hear? Give me three quick little things that I can walk in and say that can ease the tension, and it'll spit out three things. I won't say them word for word. I don't look at my phone and go, this is it. It helps my mind get where I need to be.
Hmm.
Because I'm one of those senior members going, are you kidding me? Just go to work and cut hair and have fun.
Yeah.
So, so I use it as a, like a barometer for myself along the way. And then we actually gave our managers permission to use it because it was working so well for me when they have challenges.
Mm.
As we all know, in our world, we're in the human being business. We just decorate it with hair, color, massage, nails, but it's all about interpersonal relationships. And for me, AI has really supported that. And I just happened upon it. I just started asking it questions
Mm.
that I got pretty good answers to that I otherwise didn't have. I can't relate to a 20-year-old person anymore. The work ethic, all of it. And I've gone to every seminar, Simon Sinek, everything in on the globe. It's helped me,
Mm.
but I need more detail. And that's where I find I'm getting the details of the answers I need to do. And before I walk in, I've got to right mind myself to what's going on. And it's helped. It's here. It's not going anywhere. I was just talking to someone in our office. I said, they don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want it. I go, it's not going anywhere. So let's start it. Let's talk about how we can use it. And
Okay.
it's working. It
Yeah.
actually
Good.
is working well.
Okay. So that's interesting. That was something I was going to ask you about. You said you now talk to your managers about using it as well, because you'd found it really helpful in terms of, getting different insights about how to talk to different people from, different generations. So say, for example, you and I are probably a similar age. You just said, 20-year-olds today, you don't necessarily understand them. The way you would have talked to a 20-year-old, when you were 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever, doesn't sort of work today. There's a different sort of way of communicating. They have different values, different priorities. And so you found it, from what I'm hearing you say, you found it really helpful to you to ask AI, I've got a 22-year-old that I'm talking to. This is the problem that I'm having. What are some of the things that I should ask them? How should I approach this or not approach it? Does that sort of sum that up?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And it covers all the spectrum
Yeah.
because it's not just a business question. It's
Yeah.
really human quality that I'm using it for.
Yeah.
And we had this, we talk about more than we need to, but in our company, I wanted to turn our managers into leaders. Well, that's a different perspective and a different acronym.
Yeah.
So we've done all this homework. We've used a lot of people to start teaching leadership skills. Well, that's a whole nother level. So then when we gave the managers the okay to use AI to ask it questions, everyone's getting better now. And they're using it. And the relationships are getting stronger. Because it's really, and then what really got me going was I heard in California, everyone was using AI as their therapist.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, I never would have thought about that. But here, we're kind of using it as a micro phone a friend.
Mm.
And you know, we have open door, all the leaders, managers talk to each other constantly, but we're all busy. So we go to this first. So there's steps. Talk to Gemini first, see if you get your answer that you can work on. If it doesn't sound right, then we have a chain of command that we're here to support you and help you. We don't want to ever seem not human, but this is giving us a lot of the fill to get the better answers for you.
Yeah. Did you, from your managers, am I correct in saying you've got half a dozen salons?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. So again, I'm going to imagine that probably your managers are not in their 20s by and large. They're probably slightly older. So when you're introducing something new to them like this, did you get a lot of pushback from them about it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Give me an example of that.
Again, it was the human fear factor of am I going to lose my job if I use it? So you've got to get rid of that one. That was a big aha for me. And then once we did that, then we had a meeting and we started playing with it. And we said, let's ask crazy questions. So what are some of the crazy questions in the salon that the younger staff are asking you? And let's ask Gemini to help lead us in a direction to have where we get what we need out of it and they get what they have to hear the way they listen. Yeah. It's not what I say, it's what they hear that matters. If I just say go to work, okay, that's not working. But if I say it in a manner that they can hear it, it's perfect, win-win. Yeah. But with the leadership and the managers of our company, it's really helped them tremendously. And I tell everyone, if you have a big one, take a pause, just pause. It's okay to say, I don't have that answer for you right now. Walk outside, whatever you have to do with your phone, ask it the question. Yeah. It'll calm you down. Yeah. Because, and I'm a very open book. Everyone who knows me in this industry knows this is how we really are. My wife and I are in the salons every week, if not 3 to 5 times a week. We go around, we talk to everyone, and it's how we do our business. It's not how everyone does their business, but it has helped us in ours. So we're very hands-on and emotionally connected with all of our people. We know them all by name. We know their issues. We know their life happenstance to a large degree. And so with all that, I want that connection. And that back to how do we get our managers to start leading that way? We had to get them to really understand who they were talking to.
Yeah, I need to just say to the listeners that when you say I know them all by name, they need to remember that there's 300 odd people. When you've got 300 staff, the mere fact that you know everyone's name is a huge feat in its own right. Let me ask you about the financial side. I know that we use it a lot for number crunching, etc. I don't have a salon in that context, so you've got salons. Are you using it a lot in terms of managing the financials of the salon? And give me an example of how that works.
Well, that's in a different wheelhouse of the office, and we are using it in financials to some degree. I don't know what level, but our director of operations, she's unconceivable with everything. Couldn't do it without her. Yeah. And Megan uses it just about with everything she's doing at some capacity. So I would say, and she's in charge of the financials. So we're using it with the P&L and We're putting anything that needs to be analyzed into it. I know she's using chat most of the time, Claude a little bit of the time. And then we also have a whole department of marketing that is using chat. So they use that side of it for the art.
All right, I'm going to come to the marketing in a minute. Can I ask you this? If you were looking at, you mentioned P&Ls, for example, or just looking at your financial department and the way things are working, is there something that you could look at it and go, this was pre-AI and this is AI, and you can see the financial benefit from it, i.e., being able to reduce staff numbers or manage inventory better or manage staffing schedules better that you weren't able to do before? I suppose that's what I'm trying to get to, is that, where would you actually see the impact in the numbers side of things?
Well, for us, it's about our people, so quality of life. So anytime I can make it easier for our people, everything gets better and everything trickles around it all. So yeah, we're saving lots of time. We have a scenario, we throw it right in and it will give us a direction. And that's the key. And it may give you the answer.
Yeah.
Which I'll take that as well, but I really want everyone to use it. And that's it for everyone listening. The biggest thing, because we're artists, I was dead set against this thing. This is going to ruin the world kind of thing. And then a good friend of mine, Sam Brocato, he pulled me aside and goes, no, come over here, let's look at this. And that was it. That was the big aha, because he made me feel comfortable. And why I'm here today is just to make people inquisitive and get a little bit more comfortable with the idea if you're not. And it's not just cookie cutter, and that's where people, I think, are doing it. When I talk to people, they're using it for the generic things that you would. I'm saying open your mind, open to any question that you might have. It is a phenomenal thing. And as we know, for me, it starts to think like I do.
Yeah.
So it's giving me the answer. So if you want my answer to something, you could grab my phone and ask it a question, and it'll give you a perspective from where Frank's standing. A little bit. It's great. I love that. I'm not afraid of it, so that's a big thing. Is my brain going to turn to mush? Not a chance. It's going a mile a minute, because I got plenty to do and plenty to think about. Yeah. But if I can enhance it, I say why not?
Yeah, good. Okay, you mentioned marketing, and oftentimes when I talk to salon owners, and I say, "Are you using, AI in the business?" They'll say, "Oh yeah, we use it." I said, "Well, give me an example." And they'll say, "Well, we use it to write our captions for Instagram," and that's great. It's better than nothing. Right. But how are you using it in marketing over and above that sort of thing? Can you give us a sort of a practical example of something you do?
God, I wish Wiley was here. She uses it imagery. It's unconceivable what she's done. And I go, how do you do that? And it's AI. Yeah. And so she's moving pieces around. So she's using it at an incredible level alongside. And she too had an issue with, I don't want to use it because it's going to take away my artistic approach.
Yeah.
Just use it to enhance and to speed things up, because that's the name of the game now. It's time. We all know one thing we can't get back is time. So anytime you create the idea, then use it as you can to enhance it. And she does a lot with that. But we have a pretty robust department. We have 3 people in our marketing department that work on lots of it.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone has a marketing department, because not everyone has 300 staff and half a dozen salons. Yeah, and I get what you just said too, with, because of the creative component of hairdressing and hairdressers, that there can be a resistance to, no, I don't want to be changing images using, artificial means. I want to be able to do that myself. And I totally get that. I mean, just today I was looking at some images from a hairdressing competition, and some of them they were just so manipulated. Like, I'm not saying that they'd used AI, and it's sort of fundamentally. I don't mind people using AI, but it's almost like there should be a category to say these are images that have been developed using AI, and these are images that haven't been. It's sort of when the line gets blurred. It's like, hang on, what are we? Are we artists using artificial intelligence, or are we creative professionals using a scissor and a comb and a can of hairspray to make something happen? So I get that frustration, and it's all about finding the balance between the two, isn't it?
Well, we started before we even started the podcast. We were talking about the importance of understanding that, in my opinion, AI was just thrown out there. No one took the time to think about it and say, where can we put on some parameters with how are we going to use this? Slow it down a little bit. And it's just gone so fast. For me, I'm trying to keep up with what's going on to the best of our abilities. So creatively, we do all our own photo shoots, but do we use AI to help move it around and absolutely. What's the best layout? Absolutely. We want to do that. But our people are creative geniuses. They truly are. I would never take that out of their hands, but they do have the permission to use it to suit their best end result, which all benefits all of us. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But as a hairdresser, you can't get AI to cut hair. I mean, it's funny because as a hairdresser, clients come in with these pictures that are AI generated.
Yeah.
And as, as a stylist, I have to say, boy, that's really good stuff. And that's not on your hair type, much like a magazine used to be.
Exactly. But it's particularly frustrating that with color. When clients come in and they've got an AI generated image of hair color, and it's like, hang on, what I've got to work with is, that's not a thing.
Other companies are getting behind that and letting people know, which is great.
Yeah.
We're going to fix what we need to fix to make it better.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about how you're using it in terms of communicating with your team, managing people. We talked about how you're using it in the finance department of the business. We've touched on the marketing side of things. Tell me about how you're using it in terms of the client experience. What are some of the things that you're doing now that 5 years ago you simply weren't doing, and you're now able to do it because of artificial intelligence?
Well, it's simple. How can we make it better for our guests? We are in a small community. We have, say, 25,000 guests or whatever it is. How do we keep edging up? What new things can we do? What aren't we seeing? What can you help us understand that we need to see differently? Asking it just questions that way. And then we enhance our buildings. We enhance the services. We enhance the experience by means of having AI throw us ideas. They're just ideas like if we sat in a room with 10 people, but then we get to decide.
Yeah. What about, can I ask, what salon management software do you use in the salon?
We use Salon Biz.
Salon Biz, right. Okay. I know of Salon Biz, but I'm not that familiar with it. I know some of the salon management software companies have really got into that. I mean, they all will eventually in varying degrees, but obviously there's, usually a market leader. So I was curious about that in terms of artificial intelligence and a receptionist, the phone being answered by an AI, not by a person, or, the checkout process or product recommendations. Is there any sort of AI in those areas yet in your business?
That's a great question, Anthony. Not really, and for good reason for us.
Okay.
The one thing, if you ask AI, do we all have a job in 10 years?
Yeah.
Stylist and all that. And the one thing that I've always known about this industry, it's about the human connection. So we don't let anything take that away. Now, do we greet with a different greeting from AI? Sure. Let's come up with a new phrase. I'm tired. I've been doing this a long time. I don't want to do another phrase. Let's ask AI what could be the best one for this holiday season. That's fine. But we are really big on using our people and the experience. And our clients love it. Hugging. We do a lot of hugging. Yeah, I can't hug you. And I'm very diligent about holding on to what works.
Yeah.
Because if we let it go, and this is just our business, everybody has their own business. In our business, what will we be? I want to make sure people feel great, not just look great when they leave. And that comes with human connection.
Yeah.
So wherever we look at when it comes to our guests, it only can enhance their experience in salons.
That's interesting. And I know you mentioned before Sam Bricato. I had Sam on the podcast, it's probably 18 months ago now. And I was talking to him about doing away the front desk, because a lot of salons have done away with the front desk and reducing their amount of receptionists, And I'll always remember what he said to me, no, I want to increase the amount of human interaction. I want to use AI to enable us to be more, face-to-face, more human, to free us up from doing the stuff that we might have been doing to make us more human, in terms of that interaction, because that's what a lot of people will be missing, because AI is encroaching on so many other areas. But when they go to a salon, they want that human face-to-face interaction, whether it's a hug or a handshake or just the warmth and physical contact you get when you put your hand on someone's shoulder, and give them product recommendations or whatever it is. All that sort of stuff is missing, and going to be missing even more in certain areas of business and commerce. But in hairdressing, it becomes our superpower, so to speak. So I'm glad to hear what you've just said.
It is without a doubt. And working in a salon, and I work very diligently. I don't do 3 people in a day. I do 15, 18 people in a day. And I will tell you that there's a lot of people that just come to be touched. And it's so lacking in the world. And I believe there's going to come a place that you come for a hug. And you might pay for that hug at some point. Why not it be the salon? I mean, our people come to feel good first. And I love to tell this. I tell this to our staff. I tell this everywhere I go. I have reams of emails about how wonderful we are. It's got nothing to do with the technical service. It's how we made people feel inside our salons. I would tell everyone, don't give that up, because that's what this industry has always really been about. And that's why we've gotten through the tough times, because people come to tell us everything. Listen to them. It's okay. You don't have to process it all, but it's so important to remember the human piece. That's why it's fascinating for me to have this conversation about technology, because I'm not that guy, but I've used it to really enhance how I can touch more people.
Okay. I know a lot of people are like me in that they type, ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, whatever. And I don't come across that many people who are just using voice all the time. So tell me about that the first time you used Gemini on your phone. Just tell me about that experience.
Well, it was interesting because it was with Sam, and he made me do something. I was like, I'll do it later. He goes, no, you won't. Let's do it. And so we typed it in, and then he said, oh, but look at this button. You can just talk to it, and you can just ask it a question. And I go, oh, that got easy. Super easy. So anywhere I can make it easier. And then as a leader, I have to lead by example. So I showed everyone, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Let's press this button, talk to it, and then let it come up with its answers. So you can read them. You don't have to broadcast them, or you can press this button. Now, I'm going to tell you, in a marriage, really works well because my wife actually believes that Gemini is better than I am with the answer. Even if I read the same answer, she goes, let me hear it from him. Let me hear it from him.
Give me an example.
Oh, what should we wear to go to New York and this and this and this? And I go, well, it said that we should do this. But let me listen to it because we paraphrase. She wanted the details. It's hysterical. But if you let your fear go away from it and start utilizing it as an extension of oneself, I think it works. And there's lots of little stories. We'll have to do that at a bar sometime. But before I chat with a lot of people, I always run it by my little handy friend. So, and I call my Gemini Gemma. So people go, do you have a new assistant at the office? Yeah, Gemma.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So make it more real.
And I should say, I mean, maybe Sam will listen to this, Frank. You and I, neither of us are 25, but I mean, he's in his 70s, and that's one of the things I love about him. Is that here's this guy in his 70s, and he is so in touch and hungry and curious with embracing technology. And I'm glad he made you do that because you wouldn't have done it.
I would not have done it. And we invited him at In Coiffure to talk on stage. And it was amazing because he's like me. He's not techie that way. Yeah. And it's funny that's what made it real for me. But he got on stage and got up there. My daughter had to run up and help him out. His assistant had to run up there and help him out. But everyone saw the human quality and then said, okay, I don't have to be afraid of this thing. Let me look at it. And you get on a plane and you dial in to the internet and you play with any one of, the AI search engines. By the time you land somewhere, you're going to be smiling at a different pace. Yeah. It just seems to be that it's okay. Do you get scared a little bit? Like, oh God, this could replace us. It's up to us. This thing is up to us how we use it. It's not up to this thing.
Yeah. Okay. So that sort of leads into what I was going to ask you about. What have you seen as the sort of the risks or the downsides of it that people should be aware of? Because it's like you can become very reliant on it, and it stops you thinking and working through processes yourself. So just give me an example from your experience. What would you say the downside of it is that people should be aware of, and how to counteract that?
Social. Don't overindulge in it. Stay social with it. Like in our world, we use AI, but we all collectively keep coming together. You got to keep the connection going because it can replace anything because it gives you the answers you really want. And if you don't like the answer, you can just let's ask it another question.
Yes.
So I think it's really important limiting why I'm using it because you can use it for writing a card for flowers. Now, okay, if you're not very good at that, that's okay. But you got to be really aware of at your use, like anything, like everything,
Yeah.
Anything I buy, anything I do, if I eat too much, I got to be aware of how I'm going to feel afterwards. If I, AI too much, what's going to be the end result am I going to be real to people anymore? Or am I going to sound so good? And if I may, I used to have, because I have ADHD and dyslexia, so I would send out texts to people. And I'd send them out. And I remember early on, I had my assistant clean them up for me. and just make me sound, and before AI, this is way before AI, just make it not me, make me sound smarter, please. I'm now running this place. I have to kind of get better. Boy, am I bearing all, I'm telling you. But boy, did I get a lash of phone calls. Who's sending out your emails? I said, well, I am. They go, that's not you. All the words were spelled properly. There was they knew right away. And I that would be my cautionary thing. Don't let it take over who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Allow it to enhance who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, that's really good advice, because your imagination is a muscle. And if you don't use it, like every muscle, it atrophies. It doesn't grow. It doesn't flourish. So, I mean, I get exactly what you said. You're going to write a card for somebody. You could easily just sit and think for a minute about, well, what are the words I'm going to write for this message? Use a bit of creativity, a little bit of imagination. Or you can ask ChatGPT. And sure, it might give you something quick and it might be really good that you haven't thought of, but the long-term implication of doing that with everything is not a positive thing. So it's that balance, isn't it? It's like I do that with, some of the things that I write. I will write the damn thing, from beginning to end to start with. And then I might put it through ChatGPT or Claude and say, okay, have a look at this, tidy up the grammar. Grammar's not a strong suit of mine. Take out any repetition, but do not change the tone of who I am and the way I talk. And I've trained it a lot. And that's an important thing also for people to recognize. As you just said, if I talk to your phone, it will answer me based on the information that Frank has put in there. My AI is going to answer me based on the information and the knowledge that I've given it. And that's a really important thing to get, isn't it?
Yeah. People don't realize that. They think they lose themselves.
Yeah.
It just becomes, from what I've learned, a better or a more detailed version of who I am. But I like it because I don't have to go so detailed into the questions.
Yeah.
It's now thinking like I am, so it's faster.
Yeah, yeah. And when you talk to it, do you just ramble? Like you don't try and tidy up, obviously if you're writing something, I write and then I think, oh God, I need to sort that out a bit, so I'll tidy it up. But if you're talking, you're just good old Frank, just talking away there. Yeah. Right.
Anthony, I've tried to be so many other people in my life. I gave up. Just be yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Everyone else is taken. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Just before we start to wrap up, how do you see your young staff using it in the salon? So, you've probably got some 20-year-olds and stuff. How are they using it in terms of their work? Like, how's it impacting on that?
It's interesting. The young staff are not using it like I thought they would be. They're so enthralled with social media that's what they're doing. They're not using it as a tool. They'll use it to find a restaurant, those kind of things. But they're not. It's a tool in my world. And maybe I guess if I'm going to try to find the best restaurant in Montreal, I'll ask Gemini, what do you think? But they don't seem to be I'm like, what I do with them, I say, ask it for simple questions, because younger people don't know how to connect with people. So you have to have open-ended questions to keep your person in the chair engaged with you. They don't understand the importance of that. We have a class for that. Yeah. It's really important. If your client's in your chair and they're doing this and you're doing their hair, they're probably not coming back to you. Because the connection wasn't made.
Yeah.
It's got to be tangible to that level.
Yeah. Let me reverse engineer this. You are typing into or talking to Gemma and you're saying to her, I've got a meeting with a 22-year-old and there's a bit of this or that happening in the salon. What do you think the best way for me to approach this conversation is? You're doing that. Good on you. 5 stars. Are they doing it? Are they going, I've got to have a conversation with Frank later on today, and I need to ask about my pay or my holidays or my training. What's the best way for me to talk to Frank? Do they do that?
That's a great question. We just had a great conversation with a young lady that's making a shift inside our company, which is great. And I'm going to ask her, and I'll call you back with that answer. I would hope they would, because it's not me being in charge of them and having something bigger and better than they have. It's a bridge for both of us to communicate.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe if they ask a question, well, I'm talking to this guy, he's my boss, he's my dad's age, how could I pose this question on, I need a time off? Boy, that would work for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would actually go, that's brilliant. You can have the day off.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I just don't want to do it.
Hey, Frank, careful. They might listen to this.
Yeah. Anthony, it would be okay. Because the gift is if you can help other people be the best, we'll all get the gift.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So if you're a salon owner and you're listening to this and you haven't started using AI or ChatGPT or anything, at all, maybe, or maybe you're just using it for, captions for Instagram, what would you say to them? Like, where would you say to them to begin? What would be the starting point?
Well, get someone that does use it. Much like Sam and I did, someone you trust, someone who isn't techie, because that's kind of scary for all of us, but that you can say, can you show me how this works? And I know we're doing a class in Montreal again. I think Sam's doing some part of it, and Gordon's going to be there about AI and how do we just start touching it. And it was interesting because we have some of the best salon owners in the country in our organization in Canada. And even there, they were apprehensive until it got a friendly atmosphere. And then we've kind of grown it up, which is exciting. I like to say that we were the first community of industry leaders that were really open to AI and started really embracing it. But just sitting down and asking it silly stuff and be playful with it. Because if you get too serious too hard, it's going to be too robust and might be putting you off a little bit. And I'm not the guy that, this is my only device I have. I have 300 computers. I don't sit at one of them. Everybody else does that. This is how I communicate with all the people doing all that stuff. So if it can work for me, I would say don't be shy. Just try it a little bit. Send me a message. Send you a message. Have AI write it for you. Simple stuff.
Yeah.
And you go, wow, that was cool.
Yeah.
And the next thing. But there's a lot of tidbits in here of really how it's strengthened our business. It has been vital in these last 4 years of growth for us because it's made everyone so much better, so much more relaxed that I gave them permission to do it, and that they're getting the answers that they wanted to. They didn't take 2 weeks to do research and all of those things. So there is the plus. I see it as the plus.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Well, listen, we need to start wrapping up. I really was determined to talk to someone, and you've definitely been that person, who could make people feel comfortable about AI, because AI can feel really complicated for a lot of people and they get scared of it. So I really appreciate you taking the time to make it clear and practical as to how you've integrated it into your life. So thank you very much for that. whereabouts can people connect with you on any social media channels or website? Where would you like to send them?
All I have is an email address. It's called Megan@Gadabout.com.
Okay, and you're not Megan.
But I am Frank@Gadabout.com. If you send it to me, it's liable to get lost. But if you really have questions, we're here. We go to Intercoiffure twice a year, and I'm very hands-on with anyone and everyone. So if it's an organization you belong to or you want to join, I definitely recommend that connection. But just email us and with questions. We really love this industry. It has been a blessing. I mean, you're talking about a guy that couldn't figure out much, and when I became a stylist, my life just got great, and that's what I want to give back to.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of us out there that need help.
Good.
And
Exactly.
we're good people. So.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, I'll put the Gadabout.com website address in the show notes, and it's also Gadabout on Instagram @Gadabout. Good. Okay. Well, if you listen to this podcast with Frank Westerbeke and you have enjoyed it, do me a favor and share it with people who you know would also enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating and review on the Apple Podcast app. So I'm Anthony Whitaker. This is the Grow My Salon Business Podcast, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks again, Frank. It's been fantastic having this opportunity to chat with you.
Absolute pleasure. What a way to start my day. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.